What's up, my 11 YouTube friends? Boy, do we got a lot going on in the shop this weekend. Woo! Trenton has been busy. I had to go up north, do a few things to the cabin before winter came in. And so Trenton stayed home and he worked on a bunch of stuff around the shop. And things are coming together now. We got the shocks together. We got the decals on them. He's got the springs mounted on almost all the shocks now. These ones are for saving it. Putting a set of 8-inch Fox and saving it. Got a bunch of the shocks over here. Here's for part sled put together. Look at the bushings I'm trying to figure out right now. Comment in my comment section if y'all got a good spot to get the frickin' bushings. He's already looking on, hate to even talk about them, Dennis Kirk. I hate their website. It's hard for me to navigate. I don't know if y'all can navigate Dennis Kirk's website okay, but I have a hell of a time on it. And there's different size bushings, you know, these are probably for the rear shocks on the bottom and stuff. So there's different thicknesses, but if any of you know a good one-stop source, comment. I'm looking for a place. I want to talk about the pipes for part sled. I brought these to a guy recommended by Sean Brown. Sean Brown does amazing restorations too, and I actually did a video about his collection, and he recommended this guy. Amazingly enough, this guy is less than 5 miles from my shop, and he pulled out all the dents. These are LRMs that I'm going to run on part sled, and they were all severely dented. This thing had been in a wreck at one point in time and bent all the pipes in everywhere. And he pressurizes them. He's been doing it for a super long time. He said over 20 years. 84 is when he said he first started fixing dirt bike pipes, is where he mainly was doing was dirt bike pipes. Plugs the ends, puts air to them, pressurizes them, and starts working them with a torch. He says he wears protective equipment. It's a dangerous thing. He's had a couple pop on them, and he said he can usually tell when they're ready to go, but he'll only do them if they're solid. He starts knocking on them and feeling them and chipping away to make sure they're not crusty and rusty. If they're good and solid, like these ones were very good, solid pipes, he was willing to do them. I would tell you where I had them done. I always love sharing where I bring stuff to have it done. But he says he's kind of trying to get out of them, and he says a little bit that he does with them now, he has plenty of work. And so he's like, you know, don't share it. He said, I have enough to do, and he says, I'm trying to actually try and get out of it. So he's been doing it for a long time, so you can understand. But he'll do it for a select few of us, but he said, I'm really not looking to take more work on. So it's all the shocks. We've got the pipes for part sled. The biggest thing I got done today was I painted the hoods for the 2 sleds, and I worked nonstop every night after work all week to get the hoods ready to paint. Between the high build primer, block sanding, and they're not perfect. I wasn't going for showroom condition on these things. I mean, they look great. They look great. I've done better. I've done worse. I don't know what happened on this paint job. I had fisheye real bad, and I almost never ever get fisheye. And it happened super bad this time on both colors. And the only thing I can think of that I've done different on of all the paint jobs I've done was I cleaned my gun between coats, between colors, and I cleaned it before I even sprayed the first color. I cleaned it with a different brand acetone that I've never used before. And I've used acetone a ton to clean my gun out, and this time I used a different brand because that's just what I had here. And that's the only thing I can contribute something different that I've ever done before. And it was like the acetone got in the gun, and even after draining it and cleaning it, wiping it out, and then pouring the paint in, it was still like in there somehow, and it caused fisheye in my paint and bummed me out. I'm not going to do anything about it. It's subtle, but you can see it. It was really bad at first, and I put the second coat on, and it covered up, but that's why I've contributed to the acetone, because the more paint I sprayed, the better it got. Any of you painters that are professionals, I have a professional that I bounce ideas off of here and there, and he wasn't so sure on this one. Acetone should dry fast. It shouldn't affect anything, but moral of the story, you should really use lacquer thinner. And I do use lacquer thinner a lot of times, but like I said, I've been using acetone. It's a little cheaper, but I used a different brand this time. But look at these hoods. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. The Plum Crazy is dead on to this 97 SPX, dead on. I walked out into the trailer where I got an SPX hood with that vent cover and held it up next to that SPX hood, and it's freaking dead on. And the color, like, it like ghosts. It kind of like, I don't know. It's weird as you walk around. It kind of changes. Look at the reflection of the barn wall up there into the in the clear coat. It's just the hood. It looks so amazing. I'm gonna have to nip them, and then buff them before I bring them to my decal lady. And I'm shooting for the end of the week to bring them to her. But like I said, they're not perfect. I painted these things in a dirty shop. Here's my spray booth, a dirty shop. I swept the floors as far as I went with this. And I'm happy with them. Like I said, I was really bummed at first when I started seeing all the fish eyes. And I actually took and wiped the whole back of the hood back off and resprayed it. And then it happened in another couple spots. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm just rolling with it. So, and here's this one. And this one is, the color was actually called, I picked both these out of they're Omni paints, and I picked them both out of the Chrysler section in the Omni book. And this one's called Pearl Black with Effects. Trenton, grab the flashlight once, because you can't really see it in the shop light. Before I closed the door down, it's loud outside right now, the neighbors leaf blowing and whatnot. I pushed them into the sun for a second, and God, you could see, look at the sparkle in there. It's got just a subtle like rainbow sparkle in there. I'm shining it on part sled. And this one's got like a silver metal flake in it. They're absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to get the decals on them. They're gonna look absolutely incredible. Trenton started assembling some of the stuff on Breeze sled here, and oh my God, it's just amazing. We got all this, he's got the front shocks mocked up on it, got the sway bar in it. And here's a tip to know. 99 XCR 440s, and I'm sure this came in some of the other race sleds, their sway bars were hollow. That sway bar being hollow is quite a bit lighter than the solid one that went in part sled over there. Quite a bit lighter. You hold them up to each other, quite a bit lighter. He's putting the toe holds back on. Big shout out to Mark Trotter again. He came through with a snow flap for Breeze sled here. Also a nice purple with pink checker flag on it, snow flap. Thanks, Mark. It's going to look absolutely amazing on the back of Breeze sled. We're going for the purple award here. We're trying to win a purple competition. Trenton's put all the steering components and the front radius rods and everything back together over here in the trailing arm and stuff. This is Trenton's little workbench here. He keeps pulling up Babbitt's for the breakdown and I bought most of the front end parts from Babbitt's. So he looks at the part number because both sleds are slightly different as far as bushings and what goes where. And like this one here gets this spherical bearing in the back. See how that moves around there? This is for the 440 XCR chassis, and that is a freaking expensive part through Polaris. I paid $100 for two of them. If you got a better source, let me know. Just pulled the track in here so we can, I got to renut it. The person that put this track together didn't tighten up the studs tight enough. So you can see all the backers are mispositioned. They're starting to bend and all the studs are loose. They didn't tighten them tight enough. So that track, I got a super good deal on it because that was kind of the issue. But I got to spin all the nuts off, put new nuts on. I'm going to put new backers on also. It's a big project right there. But I'm going to actually add some more studs. I'm going to do some doubles. Every fourth window, I'm going to do a double stud. Put some extra studs in there. But that's an 1 1/4, 136. Very hard track to find. Another thing that me and Trenton just did, we pulled down an 1 1/4 track to put on Breeze sled and on Project 2 bag. And here's the track we are going to use. And we both could kind of tell it was a little bit lighter. This is a 121 1 1/4 lug track. And we thought it was a little lighter than the other 1 1/4 121 track we had in our hands too. And we're like, well, grab the scale, let's figure this one out. And the other one is a lightning bolt track, 1 1/4. We hung this one on the scale, and what was it, Trent, 36 pounds?
Yeah, 36.
36 pounds. We hung the lightning bolt track on the scale. It was 44 pounds. 8-pound difference between the two tracks. And being I'm going for XLT, extra light triple, we're going with the track that's 8 pounds lighter. Because I told Trenton I'm going to get this sled down to 500 or below. And so that's the challenge. That's where we're trying to get. I don't know if you guys can see these things in the background. Look at these gorgeous RXLs back here. Absolutely incredible. Trenton, this was a part of his project this weekend as he pulled the engines out of both of them because both of them need new engines. And this is Project Saving It. I was going to part it, but I'm saving it now. And I can't possibly part with this sled now. This thing, and I'm putting 8-inch Fox shocks in it. This is going to be all foxed up and brand new engine in it. This thing is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be beautiful, and it's going to ride so incredible. I mean, it'll be a new machine. I'm going to ride it like this year, and I think next year maybe I'll pull the front end apart and repowder coat everything. But just for now, I want to get it riding and see what I really think of it. And then Trenton, he says, Dad, I think you got to come up with a name for my RXL. He says, because he was dead set that he was going to sell this thing. He picked it up. It needed an engine, needed a couple other things. He was dead set. He was going to do all the work to fix it, and he was going to sell it. Well, now it's called Project Unsure because he's unsure of exactly what he's going to do. He's definitely going to get it running, definitely building a new engine for it, but he's unsure exactly what's going to happen after that. So Project Unsure and Project Saving It, they're on the burner. They're up on the list now of getting done because I got to build engines coming up in the next couple weeks. I'm going to start building engines, 4 of them to be exact. So those 2 are each getting engines, and these 2 over here are getting engines. So I'm going to do a whole build series on engines, and I'll go through each engine, and I'll just keep putting up little videos of like the bottom end, and then we'll do the cylinders, and then we'll button them up, and I'm going to show some little bit just tips and things to look for in each different engine. And a lot of it's just oiling. Oiling is the biggest issue on all of them. So my oiling concern is going to transfer from sled to sled. So I believe that's all I got, guys. Major project or major progress this week on the sleds. Just like I said, there's so much with new bushings and new rod ends. I got all that from McMaster Car. The guys are looking for rod ends, McMaster Car. They're not exactly the same as the Polaris ones, but they're about 1/3 of the price. Polaris rod end, $30-some. McMaster Car, under $10 for almost every single rod end you're looking at here. Just, you got to do some modifying though, but they will work. Like these ends here are like almost $40 through Polaris for this end, and it's under $10 through McMaster Car. So that's where I get my rod ends from. Like I said, they're not an exact same end, but I like to run close enough. So, all right, guys, that's it. Thanksgiving's coming up. It's going to be a big weekend out in the shop. I'll have a lot of stuff to show you guys next weekend. Thanks for watching, and comment if you guys got a source for the bushings. And then the teal, the ski loop. I gotta bring this up right now. Hands down, it was teal. A couple guys said black, I think just for supporting Trenton, but it was hands down teal. And I think most of you guys that commented teal are guys from my era. Because we kind of understand that whole thing from the 90s of you had to have all these different colors on your sled to make the sled look as cool as possible or stand out of the crowd. Because if you came out of a bar and there was 25 XLTs lined up in a row, you had to figure out which one was actually yours because the key fit in most of them anyways. And if you had teal loops on yours with purple skis, you knew exactly what sled was yours. Exactly. So thanks for everybody commenting. That was fun. But yeah, it was hands down teal. So it's going to be teal skis on there. Thanks, everybody.